After 60 years of independence, as India has celebrated many achievements in myriad fields, she also came face to face with rumblings of a stark reality which had been making its presence felt for a while.
The real problem is the instability that will arise in the water flow, in precipitation, in temperatures, and that is what really why climate change poses a great challenge. It gives you variability which is beyond our range of experience and in some cases our capacity to handle.
It's the biggest global challenge that we face as an international community.
All of us experience this uncertainty, this change, every day in our lives. Though our perception of it may vary depending on our lifestyles.
Borokhon hoboloi time jitu season hoy itu borokhon nohoy mane upside down hoy jay ar jitia borokhon diar time hole rod die ba rod diar time hole borokhon die.
This retreat of the glaciers and change in the amount of snow availability, I think they are very clear indicators. And if you look at the vegetation, some plants have started flowering much earlier, clearly earlier than they used to flower. Of course, the proper data are not available, but we have enough anecdotal experiences.
लोगों का स्वभाव भी बिगड़ गया, उनके विचार, उनके भावनाएं बदल गई, तो इसी वजह से मौसम का भी बदलाव हो गया है.
In Mizoram, the place where I come from, when it was supposed to be a rainy season, we did not get any rain. But when it was supposed to have been dry already, then that time we got a good rainfall, which was creating havocs, landslides and roadblocks.
There is no one answer to climate change, and there is no one singular reason for climate change.
It seems most unbelievable that climate change was not a too familiar phrase till very recently. Today it is the only universal reality which recognizes no national boundaries in posing a challenge globally to the way people live, where they live, and with serious implications on growth, development, and economies. In fact, its threat to national security is being increasingly accepted.
We can feel the perceptible difference in climate.
We see climate change everywhere around us.
It's real, it's evident, and generally people and businesses, they've started feeling it, sensing it, and they are wondering what is happening, what they should be doing about it.
Human activity has over time irrevocably impacted the environment. We all have a common and continuing, albeit differentiated responsibility. Because, quite clearly, unwise anthropogenic activities on the part of humankind, which have contributed largely to climate change, are not going to cease dramatically, nor the value system, which drives high consumption societies across the world, disappear suddenly. So while it is no longer possible to prevent climate change, It is possible to protect our societies and economies from its impact. It is a global problem, but its solutions lie only in action at local levels.
So you need people who can really sensitize others, provide knowledge, work in the field and at the grassroots level.
At this juncture, whatever the mitigation measures are being adopted, that's fine. But the people who are most vulnerable to the effects of the climate change, they need to be educated. They need to take the action.
And the larger debate actually is still by and large taking place at the national capitals or the global forums. Sometimes it gets down to the state level or maybe academia and the universities. You know, who is going to face the real brunt of it? The people at the grassroots level. So where is this connect?
Recognizing that climate change was a largely leadership-free zone, an innovative initiative was undertaken by Lead India, the first of its kind in the world, the Climate Change Leaders Program.
Lead stepped in to quickly create and train climate change leaders worldwide. India is the pilot program, and that what we are bringing into India, which may be different from other countries and will perhaps roll out differently, but what in India the climate change leaders, the reason for their selection and where they come from is that we want to bring regional concerns, local issues up to a national and policy level, with the eventual aim of having some of these concerns reflected into an international negotiations and at the international negotiations table.
For the pilot project, the North and Northeastern Himalayan states of India, covering an ecologically sensitive area, was selected. The program aims to build a responsive and representative network of climate change leaders to ensure that national policy makers are informed of regional climate change priorities.
Leadership is all about change, and leadership is basically a people in a network, so that they can take a lot of initiatives together and collaborate to do something.
The program was so designed that climate change leaders, having once undergone intensive training, would be enabled to identify and design initiatives that would drive change in their lives, organizations and communities.
And that's what really attracted us to the Climate Leaders Project. Because if you're facing a problem which is going to impact on agriculture, on transport, on energy, on politics, on different states in different ways, it's not something which can be just left for governments. And the Climate Leaders Project seemed to us to bring people from a whole range of different backgrounds in life, different places, but all from the north and northeast of India, which is a biodiversity hotspot, but also an area which is going to be really impacted by climate change. And it challenged them to come up with solutions which worked at a grassroots level, to come together to learn more about climate change, to learn more about what it meant for their communities, and come up with ways of working.
It hopefully will be a bridge between programs, policies formulated at an apex level, whether it is a state capital or the center, and the people who are really affected by this at the ground level. So in that sense, they are a bridge, but a two-way bridge, not just a bridge to transmit wisdom from the top, but also a bridge to transmit understanding and knowledge and observations from that ground level to people up higher up.
All key stakeholders, including key implementing partners, CHEER, or Central Himalayan Environment Association in Uttarakhand, and the Missing Link in northeastern India, met at New Delhi in July 2008 to discuss project guidelines. At this 2-day workshop, issues like who would the climate change leaders be, how would they be selected, what would be part of their training modules, how would they write their case studies, etc., were discussed threadbare till consensus was arrived at. Finally, word was out. Climate change leaders wanted.
We adopted two-way selection process. One, since LEAD believes on network, so we requested all the LEAD fellows and our peers to recommend someone if they know is suitable to be a climate change leader, and then we to ensure transparency in the selection and to ensure that our call reaches all the candidates who can, all the aspirants who can contribute. We floated advertisements.
दैनिक जागरण में एक ऐड आई थी छोटी सी चिया के नाम से कि we want leaders, climate change leaders.
There was a news in the local newspaper about this CCL program, so I called them over, and then they had sent the application form.
I read it in the internet. Actually, I read the advertisement, and my mentor Dr. Joyce from Jadavpur University let me know.
I'm a frequent visitor to LEAD India website. So while going through this website in the month of July and August, I find this advertisement there. I was interested, and that was the main reason I applied.
We used the strength of the fellowship, the fellows that are across the different states in the Northeast. Each of them helped us in identifying these leaders. That is despite the fact that we had advertisements, we used all forms of communication.
All applicants were already working, fully engaged in professional activities. Why then did they wish to become climate change leaders?
By 2050, the city where I am living, Kolkata, will be underwater. So I am also threatened, so I want to do something about it.
I am very interested to learn about the climate change because first I have to learn, then after I want to teach others.
The main reason is because we are starting an initiative in climate change. We are starting a research project in Sikkim and Darjeeling to understand, the effect on certain species of plants. So the opportunity for me in this training was to learn what is going on in the region and what are the issues which are related with climate change, as well as to network with people who are working similarly.
Accordingly, I am going back to this organization, and accordingly first I bring awareness to our local bodies as well as corporate management.
The knowledge I would gain, the friends I would make, which is the most important thing when it comes to networking. And I think networking and the knowledge and the purpose which serves me more towards climate change will be more defined. That is what.
But only 60 could be selected for this pilot project, and 60 were.
We received a good number of dozen of applications, out of which it was very difficult for the selection committee to select these 30 people. So if in fact we selected 30 plus 1 in reserve.
Believe me, there are some people who are not been selected who still have that passion. So we are talking about 30 climate change leaders in Northeast India. But believe me, there are at least 300 more leaders out there.
Perhaps there wouldn't be another group in the world representing such diversity in all possible ways, yet working for a common cause.
Having seen that interest in them, we are now training them through a 5-day training, first 3 days here and another 2-day training program, where what we say, we will bring them into a leadership mode. While they are concerned and they display leadership qualities, they will be trained to hone those skills, to learn more, and what they will go back and do over the next 6 months before they meet at a national convention is work with mentorship from LEAD and LEAD people associated with LEAD on bringing up and documenting some of these issues that they find are burning realities at their local level.
The sessions were designed to ensure that the participants worked within an intensive learning environment, exchange perspectives, go through a process of reframing the problem, so as to unlearn, to learn anew.
In terms of skills, we have lined up 3 different skills that they may be required. The first one is in team building, because they will be working in teams as a team of climate change leaders, as well as in their daily lives. When they go back to their organizations, they have to work with people. They need to understand people and get around and work in teams. So that is one aspect of training we're giving. The next is on the whole aspect of communication. You need to be able to communicate well, to even not just to tell people what you want to say, but also to get good information from people, you know. So communication is another skill that we are really focusing on. The other skill that we are focusing on is systems thinking, to enable them to start thinking outside the box, to enable them to start changing from that lateral thinking down to a more, from the typical one-way mode of thinking to a more lateral and other sorts of thinking. So we're incorporating the system thinking in a big way. The other one is the whole issue on leadership. Leadership as a module, especially we have focused this time on adaptive leadership.
The training sessions were like a smorgasbord of learning, listening, sharing of information, knowledge, skills and ideas.
By the hemoglobin of the atmospheric pressure in the country. Excuse me, please.
Breathe in and breathe out.
And in case anybody felt there was an overdose of gyan, there were enough mind, body, soul sessions for unwinding as well. But most importantly, there was enough time to get to know one another, form bonds which would be the foundation for working together in the future. Being networked 24/7 is an integral part of the Climate Change Leaders program. Its website, newsletter, community sites allow the participants to remain in touch constantly.
If there is any doubt, there is already there's a Yahoo group. All the CCLs and other lead groups, there's a group. I can get inside and I can get all the doubts cleared.
Each climate change leader had the benefit of sharing doubts and receiving guidance from a mentor while working on their case studies. And though, no doubt it is still early days, but this is what the climate change leaders have to say.
They had unfolded my qualities. Maybe I had it within me, I don't know, I'm not sure. But I think I can be a better leader now, so that people will listen to me what I'm saying. I can motivate them now better.
इस ट्रेनिंग से एक तो मैं भी ज्ञान अर्जित कर रहा हूँ. मैं ग्रासरूट का आदमी हूँ, किसान हूँ. मुझे भी ज्ञान प्राप्त हो रहा है क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो काफ़ी अच्छे डायनेमिक लोग आए हैं और जो यंग जनरेशन, मुझे एक मौका मिला कि आज के जो यंग जनरेशन है वो क्या चाहती है.
What we are doing there is a general way, but LEAD taught me by this 3 days workshop that how to deal the matter in a scientific way.
जब भी हम लोग रेगुलरली जब बैठते हैं, मीटिंगें कराते हैं, तो मेरा अपना ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये मैं अपने गांव के अन्य प्रधानों को देने का प्रयास करता हूं. और तकरीबन अभी यही चीज़ें हमारी जो है डेवलप कर रही हैं और कई ऐसे गाँव में जो हमारी जो सोच है उसको हम धरातल पे लाने का काम इसी विकास खंड में हम कर रहे हैं.
It has highly increased my self motivation level and it has empowered me to execute the ideas which I am having in my mind. Otherwise I won't be able to execute such ideas if I won't be having such a nice platform to do.
थोड़ा सहयोग संपर्क करके इतना तो नहीं कहूँगी कि लोगों को सचेत कर सकता, बचा सकता है. इसमें क्लाइमेट चेंज में जो असर आ रहा है दिखने को मिल रहा है, तो उसको ये बचा सकता है।
अगर मैंने हम CCL से एसोसिएटेड हैं तो ये तो अब लाइफ लॉन्ग हो गया।
हमें ये एक नया मोटो भी यहाँ से मिला है और अपने काम को हम अच्छे ढंग से बढ़ा सकते हैं।
हम ये सोचते हैं कि हम लोग ये ट्रेनिंग करके अपने एरिया में कम से कम छोटे छोटे ग्रुपों में लोगों को अवेयरनेस दें, और ताकि ये क्यों हो रहा है और हमें क्या करना चाहिए।
So this was a platform where I interacted, I met people, I met experts, I met colleagues who were thinking almost the same way I was thinking, and of course a different way too.
If all of us put together, have a shared vision, we look at commonalities, bring out some relevant issues and then take it up to policy makers, you know, we can effect informed policy changes.
And what is it that is now expected of them?
We have a lot of expectations from them. We have high hopes, and basically what we want them to do is, once they go back, we hope that they will be able to positively influence the people that they interact and work with. We hope that they will be able to use the skills that they've learned here to engage in meaningful dialogues, to come up with ideas, to inform policymakers, to inform the masses that they interact with, who are actually the voices that influences policy in the long run.
If we are able to develop a forum or a network of climate change leaders within Himalayan region, that would be a major contribution, because Himalayan region is very unique and it is very less represented at national and international level.
All LEAD needs to do is to give the right directions and find the right resources and help them manage it. People are capable of managing themselves.
The example that it can show both within India and internationally for ways that people can really make a difference to their communities and their regions is relevant in the developing world, but also beyond that in the developed world too. I think everybody needs to see that somebody with commitment, with passion, with a bit of knowledge and with a good plan can really make a difference. I think that's an incredibly valuable lesson for anybody trying to deal with climate change around the world.
I would say basically the climate change leader's primary job is to go and reach out to people. You know of this experiment, a group in Uttarachal where one climate leader went and connected with 90 school children. Now that's phenomenal multiplier. You see? Now if for the 60 climate leaders that we have, if each of them were to do something like this, then it's a huge multiplier. From 60 I get to 6,000, and who knows that those 6,000 then reach out to more.
And just to play a little with the words, it is now the climate for change. Change in approach, perspectives and values. Time to create an environment conducive for change. But most of all, a change in leadership. Because as we have all seen in the past, it never has taken large armies to bring about change. For India, in her 60s, is waiting to see the power of these 60 to bring about change. Meaningful change.